All right, each and every Friday we check in with Sean Salisbury, our resident quarterback, but he's also got connections, obviously, with this big baseball story being there in Houston. So we love checking in with Sean Salisbury here on the Fire Wings Hotline. Sean, good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well, guys. Good to be with you.
Hey. You and I were texting each other earlier this week. It's never – I always cringe when somebody says, hey, man, your shows must be super easy, because they're not if you're trying to do a good show. But I would imagine I think Houston this week, Sean, is the best city in the country for sports talk radio. Has to be. The best, easiest, no. Right.
Probably, yeah, because it's not easy to rip a team that you're the flagship of. No, that's not easy.
Sure.
I believe that it's one thing to be a homer and root for the team that you're covering. It's another thing to pee in a fan's face and tell them it's raining and make every excuse for the flag. You don't have to be personal. It's not personal. But I can't go on my show and tell Astros fans, oh, yeah, cool. They cheated, but you know what? But I can still love them, but I can give them the facts. And that's just me. Now, some in cities or some radio hosts may feel different. I don't ever make it personal. But, yeah, think about it. The Rockets are struggling recently. We've come off of suspensions, firings, the Texans losing 24-0 and blowing that lead. I mean, the Daryl Morey tweet that happened earlier. I mean, you talk about those 4 losses at home in the World Series. I mean, it just rolls on and on and on. So, yeah, there's no question, especially the last week or two, there's no question the best place to talk sports in the country here, but not the easiest, because it's hard to – Jeff Luno came on my show every week. Jeff's a friend, and I love him, right? But please don't tell me Jeff didn't know this was going on. I don't buy that.
Right.
It just looks like it makes for great radio. And we had fans crying, calling in.
Wow.
A 70-year-old who loved his Astros and is now so bothered by the fact that one World Series ring, he's crying. The fans suffer the most. The players who are involved in it suffer the least. They're still getting paid. They're going to get berated. But fact of the matter is, you rob Peter, you pay Paul. I love the Astros. I love the Red Sox. Red Sox are my team. Think how I got to go into spring training. The 2 teams that won the most recent World Series are my flagship and my favorite team. So, but you can still love your kid, but you can still discipline them. And if you cheat, you rob Peter, you pay Paul. And they did. And that's the bottom line.
And, Sean, at this point, we know who's been targeted. We've had you said Jeff Luhnow, you had A.J. Hinch, you've had Cora, you've had Beltran. No players. Is this done? Do you expect more to happen if players actually get pinched in this?
How can they, though? How can we unless all of a sudden the buzzer on the shoulder thing that's now come out recently, if that's true, maybe now you can individualize it. But remember, we got a looming new agreement coming up for Major League Baseball, and you know that they do not want to strike. Money's involved, and you can always follow that money train with the players. But the problem that I have now, you could fine them, I guess. Say, hey, you were part of the Astros. Bregman, here's $3 million. Altuve, here's $3 million. Fine him. I guess you could. But I don't know. When you think about it, it's like the informant to a cop. You know what, man? You give up the big dogs, or you just don't say anything, and guess what? You're going to walk, but they're going to fall on the sword. Now, I know when you're a leader of an organization, and Rob Manfred sent this down, if you're a manager or general manager, what happened with the Apple Watches, you will pay dearly for this, and you keep doing it. Well, you just peed in their face and told them it was raining and thumbed your nose at them. It's like apparently the players are thumbing their nose at A.J. Hinch if he didn't want to do it. So I'm still having trouble piecing together how this – imagine how they did this. Okay, here's the trash can. They had to practice it, right? Somebody put a camera in center field. Oh, man, here's the trash can. Turn it over. I'm going to go out in there. I'm going to flag a signal. I'm in my construction pants. You stand at the plate. And then when hit that a little louder. I'm not sure that'll work for us when the baseball team's here because the crowd noise. So hit that. How did they even pull this off? I'm talking about in its infancy. So, there's a lot of layers, but the players are not going to get anything. They're not going to find anything like steroids when you caught the single individual player. Because what are we going to do? The report said most, if not all, of the Astros used it. Alex Cora admitted he cheated when he was in 2017 with the Astros. So are we going to do what we did to SMU, death penalty him, and then 2 years later, all of a sudden, we got to play minor leaguers. I don't know, but the players are not going to get any, other than berated and dogged and booed and signs held up in cities. The fans are going to have to argue it over bars. They're not going to. The players aren't going to suffer one bit. And I do have a bit of a problem with that. But I don't know how you'd say, what do you do? And if it's 8 teams, I mean, I don't point a finger at a team that hasn't been found guilty yet. I'm not saying Pittsburgh's done anything wrong until I know they've done something wrong. I know 2 teams that have,
right?
At least in this scandal. And the guys that are involved, El Jefe, meaning Alex Cora, who's the boss man on both of these organizations with rings. So I don't know, but you know what? The players are going to show up at spring training. They're going to have to. The toughest thing they're going to have to do is deal with some booze and answer some questions. Other than that, they're not going to get docked 1 ounce of money, and they're sure not going to miss a game because of suspension because of this.
Sean Salisbury with us. Now, Sean, this latest thing, which seems even more unbelievable, but I'll admit, when I first saw the breakdowns online of the trash can and all that, I thought that was unbelievable. Now, all of a sudden, we've got the possibility, or at least alleging, that buzzers were worn by some of these players. Now, if it's somehow proven that buzzers were worn by certain players, does that change the whole aspect?
Yes.
Okay, so we're on the same page there.
Now, if all of a sudden, let's say, you heard somebody say Bregman and Altuve did it.
Yeah.
Okay, now do I believe that Bregman and Altuve are still good baseball players, even if they? Yes.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, of course they're good players. Did it help? Well, if you're a Dodger fan, you're pissed. If you're Aaron Judge that was going to win the MVP and Altuve won it, you're saying, well, maybe that helped him get 20 extra hits that year. Yeah, you're pissed. Of course. I see both sides. I do. And for me, I'm still trying to piece it together. Hell, I don't want to be hypocritical and say, well, they cheated, but should you dock them the championship? They cheated, but it's okay. You know what I mean? We're all kind of caught in that. But yes, if you can find out that 8 players were a buzzer, you got to hit them as hard as you did Luno and Alex Cora or AJ Hinch, of course. And I'm with you. Listen. When I saw the Altuve, who I love, come down third base after hitting a home run on video, when you see the home run off Chapman, most players, here's my initial thought. My initial thought, well, this is Altuve. I love him. He'd never do anything wrong, right?
Right.
Then the next thing you see is, I'm thinking if I hit a walk-off home run to get to the World Series, and I'm coming down to third base, my helmet's flying off, I just gave that to my third base coach, I'm hopping around. The last thing I'm thinking about is my jersey getting ripped, right?
Right.
That's me. And then the scowl on my face, and then wagging a finger, pointing to my jersey, and then gripping 2 hands at the top like, don't rip it. Then I think, well, maybe Altuve, then running into the clubhouse and changing shirts before he came back out and celebrated.
Right.
Now, maybe I personally, now I'm not dogging him. I have a hard time on the wife thing. Didn't want to see me with my shirt. Don't misunderstand me. That part got me a little bit. But if that's the way his wife feels, I'm not going to question the dude. But my initial look at that, I thought, well, why? I would have, you're throwing your arms up and said, the jersey's the last thing. I'm thinking, I just hit a historic home run.
I'm taking my pants off, Sean.
Yeah. I don't really give a rat's ass. But then I'm thinking, okay, man cave, you want to save it, preserve the jersey? Or does a little rip add something to it for the Hall of Fame?
Exactly.
Oh, I got to preserve this for the Hall of Fame. I don't know. Maybe I'm just different, but I take the jersey and throw it to the stands. I don't care. But I do get them. I'm trying to give Altuve the benefit of the doubt because I don't know if there's a buzzer under there, but until somebody shows me the buzzer under the uniform, but I do understand the optics of the non-Astros fan or player on another team saying, damn, who celebrates like that?
Right.
I get it. So listen, man, there's going to be conspiracy theories. Here's the biggest problem is when one thing happens like this, now you got to open up the can of worms about everything cheating. Oh, did you cork your bat? Did you oh, he homered, and you're going to have to answer, well, cheating again? That's the problem with this. The can of worms has been open, and now the layer's been peeled back, and onions are making everybody cry.
Well, I want to follow up because, like you, a lifelong baseball fan, I love the game and the integrity of the sport. I want to protect it. And when this first started coming out, I was the same thing. Well, how do you punish this guy? How do you not punish that guy? Should be the punishment even? And then something kind of clicked with me, Sean, and you said it in your last answer. You said, is Jose Altuve still a good hitter? Is Bregman still a good hitter? Great hitter. And that's exactly what hit me, Sean, last week. Was Barry Bonds a great hitter? Was Rafael Palmeiro a great hitter? Was Mark McGwire a great hitter? Yes. For me, I see very little reason to treat this any different. Substitute buzzer and trash cans for anabolic steroids. You still had to hit the ball. You still had to be a good hitter. But in the end, in my opinion, if it's proven, why don't we go the same way? Those guys weren't suspended. All of them weren't suspended, but Jose Altuve probably shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Neither should Bregman. Shouldn't it kind of be thought of in the same lines as if these guys got caught juicing?
Yeah, yeah. The question we're asking ourselves is, your sin worse than mine?
Right.
And, you sinned, but it's like when somebody cheats on their wife, and then that person's just completely ripping them to shreds, yet they cheated on their taxes, but nobody got them, right? So wait a minute, my sin's different than yours. Don't talk about my sin until you open your damn closet and see your skeletons fall out of your sin. So you're exactly right. And if we're going to treat Bonds or Pete Rose, who did it as a manager, not a player, right? We can get all levels of this. If we're going to treat Pete Rose or Barry Bonds like this and keep them out of Roger Clemens, keep him out of the Hall of Fame, if in fact we know a guy's cheated, then you start to speculate, well, we know he cheated in 17. Was he doing it in 14? Mm-hmm. Was it a different way of cheating in 12? Did he cheat in 21? That's the speculation. We all want to say, well, it was just 1 year. Was it? I don't know. I don't know if Mookie Betts has been cheating since he came in with those Astros. I don't know. I hope not. But, yeah, so if you're going to question that Bonds did it, and maybe he saw his growth in 1 year or 2 years, well, he was a Hall of Famer before he started juicing. You got gold gloves. The guy was all phenomenal. But we judge him. So you're right. And if Buzzer comes at it, do we automatically, then we say, well, wait a minute now. That guy's not in the Hall of Fame and vote. And you know what? There will be guys that will vote, that will not give them their vote. It will, and if it gets worse, there's no question. The sin is still a sin, and they're both large sins when it comes to the scope of baseball. And you would have to treat. I asked most pitchers, what's worse? Would you rather face a guy I asked one this morning, rather face a guy that was on steroids or face a guy that knew what you were throwing? He said, the guy on steroids.
Wow.
The guy on steroids, because the guy that knows what you're throwing's got a better idea balance-wise, base-wise, where it's you still got to hit a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. But I got news for you. If it's 98 and I'm sitting back and I don't lose my balance, it's right down the Broadway, I'm going to hit it. But the steroids now may make it go farther, but steroids didn't make my vision any better to hit the ball. So most of them feel that the steroids doesn't help them hit it as well as knowing the pitch that's coming. There you go. And that's coming from guys that stood on the rubber.
Yeah, I definitely believe that. Sean, as we transition to the games this weekend, what are you looking for? I guess we'll just kind of do an overarching thought on Titans, Chiefs, Packers, Niners. What are some of your thoughts on those two championship games this weekend?
I'll give you real quick what I was saying about why the reason this team's going to win. Now, guys, what I love about this, isn't it kind of cool? We've got two teams in the playoffs, one in the AFC, one in the NFC. It's old school, take us back to the 70s, 80s, and 90s, hit you in the mouth, play physical, throw the ball once in a while, be efficient, and wear you out like the old school 49ers and Tennessee Titans, right? Quarterback protect it, make plays when necessary. But our coach, we are gonna manhandle you at the line of scrimmage. Then you got the other side. You got the Lenny Dawson, Bart Starr on steroids with Rodgers and Mahomes. That, man, wouldn't that be cool that even if their teams aren't playing well, both of these guys simply load you up on your back and win a championship because they're so phenomenal with the football in their hand. Why Green Bay will win is because they got Aaron Rodgers. Now, you can look around. The 49ers all around are a far better team, complete team. And that they're running the ball a little bit better, give Aaron the ability to have some versatility. But whenever Aaron Rodgers walks on the field, that's why you're going to win. The guy's been in these moments, and he will make big throws into windows that most guys can't. That's why they're going to win. The 49ers, why they're going to win, is that Kyle's not going to deviate Shanahan from what he does. He's been down this road before with a 28-3 lead. He did deviate, and what happened? He gave Brady the ball too many times, right? He don't want to do that with Aaron. They're going to line up. They're going to formation you to death. They're going to physically wear you out. They're going to mix some play action in, get Jimmy on the edge, change his launch point, give me some completion, and hopefully keep it in that 24 to 28 attempt or lower range, and get in and get out and make sure Aaron doesn't get chunk plays. That's what they're going to do, and they just think physically up front, their front seven, that Aaron's not going to be able to be protected. That's why the 49ers are going. Why the Titans are going to win is, well, that back can carry you on his back and about three dudes, too, and Derrick Henry. But why the Titans will win is that Mike Vrabel trusts Tannehill more than he trusted Mariota, and he's going to trust that he can make not just 3 throws in a game that are clutch, that he can make 8 throws, because he's going to have to. He can't throw for 85 yards, even if he's 12 or 15 and win. They just can't. The other team's too offensive, so he's going to have to make more throws that are clutch in this game. But why they can win, you can control the game with Derrick Henry and limit possessions. But why it doesn't matter on limit possessions, you saw, Pat, why the Chiefs will win is Mahomes. They scored 7 straight times. They don't need 15 possessions. They need about 8, and they hang 51 on you. They're going to win because they got the best quarterback in football, and they got the best play caller, or one of, in football, and that's odd because people say, well, Andy in these situations hasn't coached his best. I think it's different. He's got a better quarterback than he ever had at any time, and that's McNabb included. And their chunk plays. They're going to see some man coverage. There will be some free runners. They're going to win because they're going to get to 30 or 35 points, and I'm not sure Tennessee can score touchdown for touchdown against them. And if you're Kansas City, you're nuts if you let Derrick Henry just run wild. You've got to load the line of scrimmage and make Tannehill beat you. Kansas City's offense will score too many points. That's why they'll win. And in the end, in truth, I'm taking the 49ers and the Chiefs because they're both the better team.
Sean Salisbury with us. Sean, I want to rewind real quick. I know you've talked about this a ton with that's why we said Houston's the best place right now for Sports Talk Radio, beyond everything else you've had to deal with this week on your show. Not will he, but should Bill O'Brien coach the Texans next year?
I know how hard it is to coach and play. Trust me, I proved how hard it was to play, but it's difficult. And Bill, you look at his, on the surface, 4 division championships in 6 or 7 years. You know what you say? Oh, you got to keep your job. It's what you're willing to accept. Is being the 8th team good enough? Is just getting there enough? I hear people say, well, there was a bunch of other teams that didn't get there. Yeah? Well, then you're telling me the 8th grade basketball team in the junior high, then you're giving me participation ribbon. Now, I know it means more money and the rest of it, but that's not the expectation, nor it should be. It shouldn't be. You got a Super Bowl caliber quarterback who's got great DNA in Deshaun Watson. So you've got players. I would have said going in, how can 4 division titles you get fired? But it's the way they're losing, Dave, guys. It is that this has happened every year. When they lose in the playoffs, they get friggin' smoked. He's a January coach. He's not a February coach, which means that if you just want to get to January, keep him. Stand pat, do the same thing. If you want to get to February, you ain't getting there. You're just not. And this was all in or nothing because they traded away so many draft picks. It was win it now or next year or forget it because we don't have any draft picks to build with. So, you know what? Bill's a good coach. He's not a great coach, and he makes too many controllable bad decisions that tell me I've hit my ceiling. He hits his ceiling now, and he falls back down to the ground. I know other coaches, Mike Vrabel, he hits the ceiling, he busts through it. If I was a general manager, which Bill is, or the owner, I would have gone a different direction. I would have called Kansas City and asked Eric Bieniemy if he'd come in for an interview. Bill O'Brien, good, but what do you want? You want to play in January? You want to play in February? And they're not winning because of Bill O'Brien. Many times they're winning in spite of him.
Sean, we covered lots of stuff today. We always appreciate checking in with you. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy the games, and we'll talk to you next week.
Can't wait. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
See you, buddy.
Thank you.